You know, we're always told that the secret to a long life is hiding somewhere in a pharmacy. But what if the real keys are actually in plain sight, in our history, in our everyday habits? Today, we're going to cut through all that noise and find out what it really takes to hit 100 years old in fantastic health. And I promise you, some of the answers are going to be a real surprise. Okay, so let's tackle a huge assumption right off the bat. We usually credit modern medicine, vaccines, antibiotics, amazing surgeries, for basically doubling our lifespan in the 20th century. And yeah, of course, that stuff played a role. But what if the single biggest jump forward had absolutely nothing to do with a pill or a syringe? What if it was something way, way simpler? Well, here's the wild truth. The most dramatic increase in human lifespan actually happened before all those miracle drugs became common. The real hero of the story wasn't medicine, it was engineering. Yep, plumbing. Just the simple act of separating our drinking water from our sewage wiped out the massive infectious diseases like cholera that used to kill so many people, especially kids. You see, it wasn't about treating sickness, it was about removing the cause of sickness from the get-go. And that plumbing example, man, it perfectly sets up this crucial distinction we need to make. It's about a fundamental shift in thinking, from just managing disease once it shows up, to proactively creating the conditions for health in the first place. These are two completely different ballgames, and really getting this difference is the absolute first step toward a long and truly vibrant life. Let's break that down, because it's so important. Managing disease is all about being reactive. It's taking a pill for your acid reflux or your high blood pressure. It quiets the symptoms, sure, but it doesn't fix the root problem. Creating health, on the other hand, is proactive. It's about building a body that is so resilient, so optimized, that it can handle stress and shrug off illness in the first place. It's about building up what scientists call a fitness reserve. So what on earth is a fitness reserve? Well, think of it like your body's health buffer. Maybe a rainy day fund for your well-being. It's the extra capacity you have in the tank to deal with whatever life throws at you. An infection, a crazy deadline at work, or even just the normal process of aging. And one of the single best ways to measure this reserve and predict longevity is something called your VO2 max. It's basically a measure of how efficient your body's engine is. The bigger and more efficient your engine, the bigger your health buffer. Okay, so this whole idea of creating health, it's not just some nice theory. Let's go look at the real world, at these longevity hotspots, where people aren't just living longer, they are living so much better. What can we learn from the cultures that are already nailing this? First stop, Japan. Just look at this number. Over 95,000 people who are 100 years old or older. That is absolutely mind-blowing. It's not a fluke, they are clearly doing something very, very right. So what's their secret sauce? Well, it's not just one thing. It's a whole bunch of powerful, consistent habits. It actually starts really early with required high-quality nutrition education in schools. Their diet is packed with things like fermented soy, a fantastic source of vitamin K2 for healthy bones and arteries, and seaweed, which is loaded with iodine and other minerals. They have this practice called hara hachibu, which means eating until you're just 80% full. And of course, they move more. They average over 6,000 steps a day, while in the US, that number is closer to 4,000. Now, just when you think you've got the formula all figured out, eat less, move more, lots of veggies and fish, let's throw a little curveball. Let's look at another longevity hotspot that seems to flip the entire script. This quote is a perfect reminder to always question conventional wisdom. Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating. People in Hong Kong also have incredible longevity. But get this, they eat more meat per person than literally anywhere else in the world, way more than in the US. And we're talking mostly pork and beef, the exact kinds of meat we're so often told to avoid. Now, let's be super clear. This does not mean eating a ton of meat makes you live longer. But what it shows us loud and clear is that there isn't one single perfect diet for everyone. And maybe demonizing entire food groups isn't the right move. All right, so we've looked at the big idea, we've seen the real world examples. So how do we actually bring this into our own lives? Let's take everything we've just learned and boil it down into a simple, actionable toolkit that you can use to start creating health, like right now. Step 1 is all about optimizing your fuel. The single biggest thing you can do here is fight insulin resistance, and that means cutting out hidden sugars. We're talking about refined carbs like bread, pasta, and cereals. Next, think about trying some intermittent fasting. Giving your body a break from constantly digesting triggers this amazing process called autophagy. It's basically your body's cellular cleanup crew, going around and recycling old, damaged parts. And finally, you gotta feed your good gut bacteria by adding fermented foods like kimchi or sauerkraut. A healthy gut is the foundation for everything. Step 2, let's master your environment. This starts with sleep. 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep in a totally dark, cool room, it's just non-negotiable for your body to repair itself. Then you can use strategic stresses like heat and cold. Things like hitting a sauna or taking a cold shower create this short, controlled challenge that forces your body to adapt and get stronger. It's kind of like exercise. And lastly, a simple one. Get about 20 minutes of morning sunlight in your eyes. This simple habit is one of the most powerful ways to set your body's internal master clock, your circadian rhythm, which controls pretty much everything. And step 3 is mastering your movement and your connection. First, just walk more. Aiming for 7,000 to 8,000 steps a day is a fantastic target. Second, and this is huge, you have to maintain your muscle mass with resistance training. Fighting off age-related muscle loss or sarcopenia is one of the best predictors of how well you'll age. And finally, please don't overlook your social connections. Being chronically lonely can be just as damaging to your body as a terrible diet. Strong friendships and community are a cornerstone of longevity everywhere in the world. Okay, so we've got our toolkit, fuel, environment, movement, but how does all this stuff actually work inside our bodies? Well, the answer is in our genetics, but probably not in the way you think. Turns out we have way more control than we've been led to believe. You see, scientists have identified the specific gene called FOXO3. It's often nicknamed the longevity gene. And studies have found that people who live to be 100 or more often have a more active version of this gene. When FOXO3 gets switched on, it acts like a master regulator for your body, telling your cells to protect themselves, repair damage, cool down inflammation, and just become more resilient to stress. And here, this is the most empowering part of this entire conversation. Just look at this list. Look at what the science shows can activate your body's own longevity gene. Does it look familiar? It should. It's the entire toolkit we just built. The fasting, the training, the hot and cold exposure, the sleep. These aren't just vague healthy habits. No, they are specific biological signals that you are sending to your own DNA, telling it to flip on the programs for repair, for resilience, and for a long, healthy life. So here's the bottom line. Your genes are not your destiny. They are more like a massive, complex switchboard. And your daily choices, what you eat, how you move, when you sleep, those are your fingers on the switches. You have the power, every single day, to consciously flip the switches that promote health and turn down the ones that don't. The power to create a healthier future is quite literally in your hands right now. So the only real question left is, after hearing all this, which one of these powerful switches are you going to choose to flip first?